Hello and welcome back to Beyond the Veil background information. We're doing another culture one today, and this one's going to be quite short. So basically, it's not going to have many resources to it because it's quite simple, really. But it's an interesting aspect to know about vampire culture in particular, because we're going to talk about vampire godparents and what that actually means. So as usual, I'll give you a quote and then I'll talk about it. Okay. You saved me, you failure. I know you're only a turd and your understanding of vampire society is probably limited, but for someone to shed blood to save us, we are in their debt. You are my godchild, my goddaughter, and I will do my best to protect you. Tell me whatever I can do to aid your hurts. Quote from Bartan in Snake Amongst the Roses. When we think of godparents, they're generally your parents' friends that are sort of secondary guardians for you and your siblings. In Catholicism, which I grew up in, the idea of a godparent was that they were Catholic and agreed to, should anything happen to your parents, continue raising you to the values of the Catholic Church. I assume that's basically what they are for everyone who has them, but in the vampire world of the Veil, a godparent is similar and yet far more important. Under vampire law, if a vampire is at risk of dying and requires blood, whomever gives blood willingly and does not give all their blood, i.e. doesn't die, in an emergency situation must be rewarded and protected through the rest of their life. As blood is everything to a vampire, the sacrifice offered willingly is so sacred to them that the giver is deemed as almost angelic. As the vampires in the Veil required permission that was said to have been arranged when Christ gave blood to them at his crucifixion, see my earlier piece on vampire permission, you can sort of get an idea of why it's such a big thing to them. That, and of course, generally vampires are the elite that subjugated many other species and kept pets, specifically to feed them blood in return for benefits, so the selfless act is very important. Now, when it happens, the vampire who has survived becomes the godparent, and the giver can be any kind of species, even human or another vampire, and they become included within the family of the vampire they saved. For example, a human who gives blood to save a member of the Pipistrello clan, currently the most powerful of the vampire nobility, that human is not turned, but becomes an honourable Pipistrello. They are called by this name and given everything their godparent can afford to give them for the rest of the godchild's life, to ensure they live well. Especially if it's someone that's helped a really big group like the Pipistrello, they can expect to have a mansion, servants, cars, as much money as they need to live without working in the best doctors available. In recent days too, the money and gifts given by the vampire nobles have become tax exempt, as it is an action recognised in the Veil as related to a cultural need, making it even better to be a godchild. Of course, the godchild can refuse anything offered to them, and the godparent cannot feel offence. They can also be asked to do rather difficult things for the godchild, which in the past has included non-vampires requesting to be turned if possible. For some, the situation can be arranged by families trying to get more power, to encourage a child of theirs to give blood to help their families increase in popularity or wealth within the Veil. When this sort of situation happens, as long as the godchild is willing, then the godparent will look after them. They're only obligated to look after their child, not their child's family. In older times, when this was forced upon young children in turn families to do so they could rise in the social ladder, the godparents would petition the noble circle and then legally adopt the godchild, taking them away from their families completely. Some vampire godparents would even insist upon this action, as was well known to be the case within the Überwald clan of Russia. If the godparent were to refuse to take responsibility at all, however, they risk exile from the social circle and within the vampire society, and this is a very bad thing. But that's all there really is to say on this matter, and I hope that it was just a nice short piece to help you understand an aspect that pops up from time to time in my Veil stories, especially in the Viper clan stories. Anyway, thank you for listening. Bye.